Hey mom, today you asked me why I never went to the beach and jumped in the waves. You asked me why I never wear that swimsuit you bought me since then. You asked me if I've grown out of it. Indeed I have. Grown bored, grown desolated, grown terrified. Hey mom, you never said that it's wrong for a 10-year-old girl to wear a swimsuit to the beach. Yet he say that I asked for it, they say that I asked for it, because somehow it has been decided that an article of clothing can whisper the okay, can unravel the innocence of me, can unravel the innocence of million young girls out there. Yet society asks us, what were you wearing? As if it matters, as if it explains why. It's completely absurd of us as a society to assume and therefore blame the victims of such incidents bluntly like that. The rooted idea of inappropriate, provocative, or revealing clothing, I may say, often raises the question of whether it is a possible explanation for sexual assault or not. Well, let me answer this clearly. It's not. It's never the victim's fault. It's never she asked for it. Why didn't she fight back? What was she wearing? It's never an impulse of sexual passion from the perpetrator. Yet I find it unbelievably amusing that nowadays sexual assaults are popularly portrayed through rose-colored glasses in pop culture, as if it was not a crime but rather a mere act of passion sparked with lust and uncontrollable sexual desires. But if it's her fault, if it's our fault, then why are there so many of us? 1 in 3 women have experienced sexual violence at least once in their lives, according to a study by the World Health Organization. 1 in 8 girls have been raped or assaulted before they turn 18, according to a study conducted by UNICEF. These ratios are extremely prevalent, that to the point that we can't comprehend the greatness of it, because even now, you know it, I know it, everyone knows the odds of being physically sexually assaulted. Yet, this topic is continuously unheard of in family settings, in school, or even if it's discussed, it's often to be misunderstood. Firstly, we need to categorize different degrees of sexual assaults to avoid using false language regarding the topic. Verbal assaults versus non-verbal. Verbal assaults are direct physical contact without explicit consent from two sides. Excessive, for example, excessive touching, sexual penetration, etc. Nonverbal assaults or any form of unwanted sexual communication or harassment, for instance, exposing oneself, making sexual jokes, catcalling, etc. Sexual assault is an act of physical and non-physical violence that is all about the desire for power, hostility, and control from the offender. Failing to acknowledge these distinctions weaken our ability to stand up for ourselves and confront the perpetrators. In reality, rape is one of the most unreported crimes, with 2/3 of cases going unreported and dismissed by the victim themselves. Why? Due to the prejudice that we associate sexual assault with. And now I will delve into the most common preconceived idea of these. And these interpretations are deeply influenced by the media we consume, from movies, music, and newspaper, etc. I could violate her in 10 different ways if I wanted to. This was not a quote from a criminal, but was a line from the male protagonist of a famous teenage classic, 16 Candles, a supposedly sweet, romantic coming-of-age movie produced in the 1980s. They often say that movies are the mirrors of society. Then how sadly or amusing it is to see them portraying rape as some collective cliche born from the uncontrollable needs of men. The film includes a lengthy subplot played for the comedy in which a drunk and unconscious girl who is 16 is raped. In the moral universe of the movie, the girl is blamed for her rape. She was not the right kind of the girl, and let me break down this movie plot for you. To avoid being the kind who gets raped, you need to earn the male approval. Be the right kind that dresses well, but a little show of skin is possible, but not too much because that's revealing. But if you're too modest, that's unattractive. 16 Candles is just one example of how media keeps on feeding the idea that women are responsible for being the victims of sexual assault. For one, self-control is what separates us from animals. Self-control is rooted in the prefrontal cortex of our brain, and we have reasons and total controls over our actions. That's basic knowledge, and for that, being a relationship or kissing or etc. does not give the automatic green light. Only a clear yes when they're conscious is the green light. It's never the victim's fault. When the offender commits sexual assault, they choose to do it. It's rooted in their lack of empathy, lack of judgment, and lack of knowledge to know that their actions will affect the victims in their entirety forever. There are social and cultural attitudes towards sexual assault that normalize toxic masculinity and sexist beliefs, and the prejudices that affect the victims will affect the offender themselves as well. Exposure to these ideals certainly influence one's actions. However, nonetheless, it will never be an excuse for the crime itself, but rather an ambiguity for us as a society to act upon. Don't teach young girls how to not be raped. Teach boys how they can respect women. Challenge traditional norms about sexual assault because you can. All gender can. You're not being dramatic, you're being a force for change. They will tell you to hold it and stay silent. But silence has never changed the world. That's what they call it before someone like you proves them wrong. So be yourself and wear what you love. Thank you.